Hey Bougie click. Ever wondered how men seem to grasp so much about women before a word is exchanged? It's not magic, it's a keen sense of observation. Men have a knack for reading the room and deciphering signals, filing their observations into neat categories even before you finish your first sentence. While the world often praises women's intuition, men have their own version that's just as sharp and strategic. From your body language to your digital footprint, we'll explore the subtle cues men pick up on, often without women even realizing it. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, this insight might just change the way you perceive the chess game of social interactions. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more thought-provoking content.
I'ma make you a fan.
Men know before you speak, the sixth sense they don't talk about. Men have a sixth sense when it comes to women. Not in a mystical, crystal ball kind of way, but in a primal, pattern-recognizing, data-collecting kind of way. While women are out here trying to decode mixed signals and red flags, men are silently clocking everything: your walk, your tone, your Instagram likes, your shoes, your friends, your laugh. And before you even finish your first sentence, they've already filed you into one of three categories: the hoe, the gold digger, or the good girl. While women are often praised for their intuition, men have their own version of it, and it's sharper than most women realize. Men have a sixth sense about women, and they use it to assess, categorize, and navigate interactions long before a woman even realizes she's being read. When it comes to women, men are often 10 steps ahead. Not because they're smarter. Not because they're more emotionally evolved. But because they've been trained, by culture, by survival, and by ego, to read women like a playbook. Meanwhile, women are out here getting finessed by men who don't even have a car, or a clue. The silent audit: how men read women instantly. Men don't need a questionnaire to figure you out. They're running silent diagnostics from the moment you enter the room. Before a woman even opens her mouth, a man has already taken mental notes. Men are visual processors, and their sixth sense kicks in through micro-assessments. Here's what they're scanning: your presentation, not just what you wear, but how you wear it. Confidence, desperation, entitlement, they read it all. Your digital footprint: they'll scroll your socials and know if you're chasing clout, validation, or peace. Your conversation patterns: are you asking questions or just waiting to talk? Are you emotionally intelligent or just emotionally reactive? Posture and movement: is she confident or performative? Men clock the difference between natural confidence and curated sex appeal. A woman who's comfortable in her skin moves differently than one who's trying to be seen. Facial expressions: men notice the subtle eye rolls, the forced smiles, the flicker of disinterest. They may not say it, but they register it. Energy and vibe: men are surprisingly attuned to emotional undercurrents. They can feel when a woman is guarded, insecure, entitled, or genuinely warm, without her saying a word. This isn't about being psychic. It's about pattern recognition. Men have been watching women their entire lives. They've learned to decode the signals. They don't need to ask if you're a good girl. They already know. And here's the kicker: they'll still play along, even if they've already decided you're not the one. Why? Because men are strategic. They don't need to love you to use you. The invisible game: how men stay steps ahead. Men don't need to ask questions, they observe. They don't need to test you, they watch how you treat others. They don't need to guess your insecurities, they listen for them in your jokes, your sarcasm, your silence. And they store that data like a weapon. They'll know you're insecure about your looks before you admit it. They'll know you crave validation before you even realize it yourself. And they'll use that knowledge to keep you chasing, proving, performing. The male sixth sense: pattern recognition on steroids. Men don't need to be emotionally intelligent to clock a woman's insecurities. They just need to observe. And they do. Quietly. Strategically. They notice your body language, that nervous laugh, that quick glance for validation. He caught it. They test your boundaries early, a slick comment, a subtle disrespect, he's watching how you respond. If you let it slide, he knows you're pliable. They clock your lifestyle, from your Instagram captions to your friend group, he's calculating how much effort he needs to put in, or how little. They sense desperation, whether it's for love, validation, or a lifestyle upgrade, men can smell it like blood in the water. This isn't about psychic powers. It's about social conditioning. Men are taught to hunt, to conquer, to win. So, they study the game. And women? Too often, they're taught to be open books. The social decoder, how men use context to profile you. Men don't just read women in isolation, they read them in context. They observe how a woman interacts with others, and that tells them everything they need to know. How she treats other women, is she competitive, dismissive, or collaborative? Men notice if a woman is the type to uplift or undercut other women. How she treats men she doesn't want, this is a big one. If she's rude to the waiter or cold to the non-attractive guy, men clock that as a red flag. It screams conditional femininity. How she reacts to attention, does she light up when she's being watched? Does she perform when she knows she's being observed? Men notice the difference between authenticity and validation-seeking behavior. Men are constantly gathering data. They may not articulate it, but they're always analyzing. The emotional thermostat, how men detect insecurity and ego. Here's the part most women underestimate, men are highly sensitive to emotional inconsistencies. They can smell insecurity masked as confidence from a mile away. Overcompensation, when a woman brags too much, name drops, or constantly references her standards, men know she's trying to convince herself more than them. Defensiveness, a woman who can't take a joke, who's always on guard, or who interprets everything as an attack. Men see that as emotional fragility. Need for control, men pick up on women who need to dominate the conversation, steer the narrative, or constantly assert their independence. It signals fear of vulnerability, not strength. Men don't always call it out, but they adjust accordingly. They either play along, pull back, or disengage entirely. How men know what you want without you saying it. Let's be blunt. Men have an uncanny ability to sense sexual availability, even when it's unspoken. This isn't about clothing or flirtation, it's about energy. Eye contact and timing, lingering glances, subtle lip bites, or the way a woman holds eye contact, men notice. They know when it's flirtation versus politeness. Touch and proximity, a light touch on the arm, leaning in just a little too close, these are signals. Men don't miss them. Mixed signals, even when a woman says she's not that kind of girl, men can tell if her body language says otherwise. They know when a woman is playing coy versus genuinely uninterested. This doesn't mean men always act on it, but they know. They always know. The long game, how men test for depth and authenticity. Men who are emotionally intelligent or experienced don't just assess attraction, they test for substance. They'll throw out subtle challenges to see what sticks. Playful provocation, a sarcastic comment or teasing remark isn't just banter, it's a test. Can she handle wit? Can she laugh at herself? Boundary checks, men will push lightly to see where a woman draws the line. Not to disrespect, but to understand her standards. Listening for contradictions, men remember what you said 5 minutes ago. If you contradict yourself, they notice. If you say you're low maintenance but demand luxury, they clock the inconsistency. Men don't need a woman to confess who she is. They'll figure it out by watching how she reacts under pressure, how she responds to silence, and how she behaves when she thinks no one is watching. Manipulation 101, playing the role you want. Once a man figures out your archetype, he adapts. If he pegs you as a gold digger, he'll flash just enough lifestyle to keep you hooked, without ever giving you access to the vault. If he thinks you're a hoe, he'll mirror your energy, play the game, and ghost you the second you get attached. And if he sees you as a good girl, he'll either wife you or string you along just enough to keep you loyal while he explores his options. Men don't just react, they anticipate. They know what you want to hear, and they'll say it. They know what you want to feel, and they'll simulate it. It's not always malicious, it's just efficient. Women rarely win the game. Women are out here getting finessed by broke men, emotionally unavailable men, and men who are secretly gay but using women as cover or convenience. Why? Because women assume sincerity. They project their own intentions onto men. Meanwhile, men are playing chess while women are journaling about vibes. By the time a woman realizes she's been used, the man has already moved on, clean, unbothered, and often upgraded. Why women keep getting played? Women are getting outmaneuvered by men who shouldn't even be in the game. Dumb men, he can't spell entrepreneur, but he knows how to mirror your emotions and fake vulnerability. You think you're building him up. He's draining you dry. Broke men know how to perform ambition. He's living off vibes and your Uber Eats account. But he knows how to stroke your ego just enough to keep you hoping. Clout-chasing men know how to fake love until the lease is signed or the business is launched. He's not into you. He's into your network, your aesthetic, your access. You're the elevator. He's just riding up. The common thread? These men know how to perform. Women, on the other hand, are often too eager to explain, to prove, to nurture. And in doing so, they hand over the blueprint. How to spot a manipulator before he gets in the door. You don't need to wait for heartbreak to realize you've been played. The red flags are always there, they're just dressed up in charm, compliments, and deep conversations. It's not just about being naive. It's about being conditioned to believe that vulnerability equals virtue, that openness equals intimacy, and that love means loyalty, even when it's unearned. Meanwhile, men are out here running psychological warfare with a smile and a sob story. Let's break down the types of manipulators women keep falling for, and exactly how they operate. The dumb man who plays smart. He's not intellectually sharp, but he's emotionally cunning. He doesn't need to understand your worldview, he just needs to mimic it. Red flags. He repeats your opinions back to you like a parrot with a crush. He avoids complex topics or deflects with humor when challenged. He's always learning but never applying. He parrots your values to gain your trust. He mirrors your emotions to create false intimacy. He lets you do the thinking, the planning, the building, then reaps the benefits. You think you're helping him grow. He's just letting you do the labor. Early test, ask him to explain something he claims to care about. If he fumbles or redirects, he's not deep, he's just echoing. The broke man with rich man energy. He has no assets, no ambition, and no plan, but he's got charisma. He sells you dreams with no down payment. Red flags. He talks big but never shows receipts. He's between jobs, working on something, or waiting on a deal. He subtly hints at his struggles to see if you'll offer help. He love bombs early to create emotional debt. He plays the victim to trigger your nurturing instincts. He uses your resources, your car, your credit, your couch, while convincing you it's temporary. You think you're building a future. He's just avoiding rent. Early test, set a boundary around money early. If he gets defensive or disappears, he was never planning to contribute, just consume. The clout chaser in disguise. He's not into you, he's into your image, your influence, your access. Red flags. He's overly interested in your social media presence. He name drops or flexes connections constantly. He starts mirroring your aesthetic and language too quickly. He studies your aesthetic and mimics your language. He attaches himself to your brand, then slowly makes it about him. He uses your platform to elevate his own status. You think it's a power couple. He thinks it's a launch pad. Early test: keep your platform and personal life separate at first. If he pushes to be featured or involved, he's not dating you, he's networking. The trauma bonding manipulator. He leads with pain. He overshares early. He makes you feel like you're the only one who gets him. Red flags. He shares deep, painful stories within the first few conversations. He uses phrases like "no one's ever understood me like you do." He creates emotional intensity fast, then pulls back to keep you chasing. He trauma dumps to fast-track intimacy. He creates a dynamic where you feel responsible for his healing. He uses emotional volatility to keep you off balance. You think you are soulmates. He's just trauma baiting. Early test: set a boundary around emotional pacing. If he resists or guilt trips you, he's not being vulnerable, he's setting a trap. The nice guy with a hidden ledger. He's polite. He's helpful. He's patient. But it's all transactional. Red flags. He does favors you didn't ask for, then expects emotional payment. He gets passive-aggressive when you don't reciprocate. He constantly reminds you how different he is from other men. He does favors with strings attached. He expects access in exchange for decency. He weaponizes guilt when you don't reciprocate. You think he's a gentleman. He thinks you owe him. Early test: say no to a favor or offer. If his energy shifts, he wasn't being kind, he was investing in control. The hypermasculine puppet master. He's dominant, decisive, and dripping in alpha energy, but it's all performance. Red flags. He talks about submission before he's earned trust. He criticizes your independence or ambition. He isolates you from friends or family under the guise of protecting you. He isolates you under the guise of protection. He controls your choices while calling it leadership. He gaslights you into thinking your independence is disrespect. You think he's strong. He's just insecure with a six-pack. Early test: assert your autonomy early. If he calls it disrespect, he's not a leader, he's a dictator in disguise. Each of these men plays a different game, but the goal is the same: control. Whether it's emotional, financial, social, or sexual, manipulators thrive when women are too open, too trusting, or too eager to prove their worth. The antidote? Boundaries, discernment, and a little mystery. Bonus tip: watch the reaction, not the words. Every manipulator has a script. But their mask slips when you set a boundary. Say no. Take your time. Ask for clarity. Their reaction to your power is the real reveal. If he gets defensive, dismissive, or tries to flip the script, you've just dodged a bullet. How to be mysterious enough to disrupt his radar. If men are running game based on what they can read, the solution is simple: stop being so readable. Mystery isn't about silence. It's about strategy. Stop narrating your life. You don't need to explain your past, your pain, or your plans within the first 3 conversations. Let him wonder. Let him work. Don't overshare. Let him earn your story. Don't correct his assumptions. Let him sit in uncertainty. Master the art of the pause. Quick responses signal eagerness. Delayed responses signal discernment. Take your time replying. Not to play games, but to actually think. Let silence do the heavy lifting. It makes people reveal themselves. Be unpredictable in your affection. Consistency is great for relationships. But in the early stages, predictability is a liability. Don't always be available. Let him question your priorities. Don't always affirm. Let him earn your approval. Keep your circle tight and your moves tighter. Men often gather intel through your friends, your socials, your routines. Limit what you post. Let your life be felt, not flaunted. Keep your inner circle on a need-to-know basis. Loyalty is rare. Discretion is power. Cultivate a life that doesn't revolve around romance. The most mysterious women are the ones who are genuinely fulfilled, with or without a man. Have goals that don't involve a wedding ring. Be so busy building that he has to schedule an appointment just to get your attention. Final word, stop assuming you're the exception. The most dangerous lie women tell themselves is, he wouldn't do that to me. Sis, he already is. Men don't need to be smarter than you, they just need to be more observant. And most of them are. Not because women are dumb, but because women are distracted by fantasy, by potential, by the hope that this time it's different. If you want to stop being manipulated, stop assuming men are clueless. They're not. They're calculating. And if you don't learn to read them as well as they read you, you'll keep losing a game you didn't even know you were playing. By the time a woman decides how she wants to present herself, the man has already made his assessment. He may not say it. He may not even act on it. But he knows. If she's genuine or performative. If she's emotionally stable or chaotic. If she's looking for love, validation, or control. If she's a short-term thrill or long-term potential. Men don't need to be told. They observe. They analyze. They adapt. And most of the time, they're 10 steps ahead, while women are still curating their image. So, the next time you think you're playing it cool, just know he's already read the script. Twice. Men are not magical. They're observant. They're strategic. And they're often playing a game that women don't even realize they're in. If you want to stop being the mark, stop being the manual. Let him guess. Let him chase. Let him wonder if he even has a chance. Because when a woman becomes unreadable, she becomes unforgettable. Thank you for tuning in to this deep dive into the sixth sense that often goes unspoken. If you found this conversation eye-opening, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more insights like these. Remember, understanding the dynamics at play can empower you to navigate relationships with clarity and confidence. Share your thoughts in the comments, let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep observing, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep being unapologetically yourself. Catch you in the next one. What do you think? Do men have a sixth sense about women? Let me know in the comments section. Stay bougie. Follow and support me. All links in bio. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check description for more info. New episodes every day.